Hello guys, Tom Yone here from Tech and welcome to my Python Django tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to continue the business profile website that we're building, and in this particular lesson, we'll talk about version control. Using Git on GitHub, we'll send all our code to the repository on a cloud. After that, we now deploy it to Heroku. So let's get started. Okay guys, welcome to this session. In this session, we're going to set up version control for our code. And please guys, subscribe to the channel and like the video. Leave your comment at the comment section. Thank you so much. Okay, so we need to set up version control so we can keep track of our code, and we are going to be using GitHub. And of course, if you go to GitHub, this is my GitHub account. So you create your own account. If you already have, it's fine. So your code are actually saved on GitHub in what we call a repository. We're going to create a repository here, but then I just want to show you. So this is GitHub website, and if you click on your image here, you have your profile, your repositories, your projects, your stars, your gists, feature preview, and all that. So to create a repository, you can hit the plus button and new repository. Let's go back to our terminal. So let's break out of our Django server. Ctrl+C to break out. First, let me clear the screen, the terminal. So the very first thing you're going to type, and of course you do this once, just once for your project. So you type git, since you are using git config, put your double hyphen global. You say user.name, which is actually your name, which should be the same name with your name on your GitHub. So I can just put Tom Johnson. The name should be a string, and I'll hit, remember, git config, then there's a space, git, there's a space, and config before another space, and double hyphen global, then user.name, and my name, I'll hit enter. So the next one I'll type, I'll say git, next command is git config global user.email. My email should be the email I used on GitHub. So I'll just put tom@gmail.com. Okay, I'll hit enter. The next one is git, about 5 commands like that. Git config, you do this just once in your project. Git config global. The next one is going to be push.default matching. Enter. Then we have git config global. We have alias.co checkout, and then git init to initialize our git. So initialize empty git repository. So right now we have an empty git repository, and you can see that our master, the master has been turned on. So everything goes on correctly, then your master should be turned on. So the next thing we're going to do is to add our code, all the code we have in this local server to a staging environment. And to add to a staging environment, you use git add. If you watched my video on version control, you understand some of these commands. So we have git add, and since we have so many files, we cannot add them one by one, like you want to add each of the files one after the other. So I want to add everything at the same time. Since I'm on Windows, so I'll just say git, then a space add, a space, then a full stop. Okay, if you're on Mac, I think it should be a star like this. But since I'm on Windows, so I will just hit the return key. So you see everything is being added, all the files in the project. So you wait for it to be added. All right, all the files are being added. So the next thing now is to inform Git that we've added all the files to the staging environment by typing git commit. This puts your message. We just type initial commit. It uses double quotes. So this is initial commit. So you see everything, all our files, our bootstrap files, images, all our static files, all our templates, everything is now added. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to create an SSH key, a kind of security key on our computer, and we'll add it to GitHub so that GitHub will be able to, or our terminal can be able to connect securely with GitHub. So to create an SSH key, I already have an SSH key created, but to create one, we have to first of all deactivate our visual environment. And to deactivate the visual environment, just type deactivate. Okay, deactivate, like that. Okay, so now the visual environment, you can see that it's no longer active. So if we clear, all right, so to create, we are going to create a new directory to hold the SSH key. And remember, the command we are going to use whenever you want to hide a particular folder, GitHub is actually a public website. Whatsoever, if your repository is public and there are secret things you want to hide, like your secret keys, your email password, you can actually put some files that will not be visible to the public. And to do that, you use a dot. So you say, so now we want to make a directory in our system. I want to make it invisible. So we say mkdir to make a directory. We say we put watido, like that, / say .ssh. Okay, now I believe this already exists. If I hit enter, you see cannot create repository file exists, so I already have it. But if you can actually change the name, you can say SSH, let's say SSHN, and hit. You see it has been created because that doesn't exist. So if we cd into that directory we just created, cd into the directory I just created, .sshn, now I am in that directory. So if you don't already have an SSH key created on your system, you use SSH, because when Git is looking for SSH key, it will look for SSH without the SSHN. So I'm going to use the one that I've already created, which is my SSH key. But I just want to do this to demonstrate to you how to do this. So the next thing, now that we've seeded into the directory, if we want to see the structure of the directory, you just type pwd. Okay, so you see the structure of the directory. You see that is actually in the top in my C drive users, my computer name. You see this Tomberry is my computer name. Then you see .sshn. Okay, and if you want to check the content of the directory, you say lx to list the content, and you see that it's actually empty. So to create an SSH key, what you do, you just type SSH hyphen, you say keygen .exe, hit enter. So it's creating okay, so it will ask you, now it's creating an SSH key. You say enter file in which to save the SSH. Now, because I already have an SSH, so I'm going to give it a name. If I leave it empty, it will want to create inside. So let's leave it empty. You say it already exists, so I cannot create this again. So if you want to override, you can actually override that, but I don't want to override. So I'll type no, and I will go back to the command again and say generate SSH key. Okay, so I will type a name. I'll say ID underscore RSAN. Okay, so enter a passphrase. So you use a password which will not show. Okay, and to ask you to repeat the passphrase again. Enter passphrase empty for no. Password is not match. Okay, I did not type it correctly. Enter passphrase again. Okay, so you see that my SSH key has been created successfully. Now, the next thing we're going to do, you can see two files are actually created, this and this. So the second one is the one we're going to be using. Okay, the one that has .pub, more like a public. Okay, so we are going to upload that key to GitHub. To do that, we will just come here and we'll say cat and the name of the SS of the key, which is ID underscore RSA n.pub. So this is the SSH key. So we need to copy it from here to where it's put at the name of your computer. So right click and copy it, and we're going to go back to GitHub now and go to our settings. Inside our settings, under the personal settings, you see SSH and GPG keys. Click on that. You see the new SSH key. You see most of these keys I created, I never used them. Never used. So new SSH key. So you give your SSH key a title. So I'll call it Niger Webs, and I'll come here and paste the SSH key I copied, and make sure there is no space. So you delete this last space. Okay, so the next thing you add, and it will ask you to enter your password. So enter your password and confirm your password. Alright, so you can see that the SSH key has been added. Now we can now make use of that to connect our terminal securely to GitHub. The next thing we're going to do now, we have to create a repository. So to create a repository, we'll hit the new repository, the plus there hits the new repository, and we're going to create a new repository. To create a new repository, you give it a name. So we'll give it a name and call it Niger Webs. Niger Webs. Okay, and we just give it a little description. Okay, it's going to be public, and we just hit create repository. Okay, repository will be created. So from my version control tutorial, you see the URL here is very, very important. You use this URL to actually synchronize or create a repository or clone your codes to your computer. Okay, but then this middle one is the one we're going to use. So let's go back to our terminal and let's activate. Let's cd into our directory and activate our visual environment. So cd Niger Webs, cd c Niger Webs. Alright, so if you ls to check what is there, you see that we have our virtual environment. So we activate our virtual environment source ve /script /activate. Okay, so you see that our virtual environment is activated. Let's clear the screen, and if you ls, you see we have a Niger Web. So cd into Niger Webs. You see our master is now turned on, and if you ls to check this, you see we have all our static files and everything now. So the next thing we're going to do now is to push all our code to our GitHub repository. To push all our code to our GitHub repository, we just have to copy all these things, the first line, because this is an existing repository. So come here and paste it and hit enter. Then we'll come back here and copy this, which is our git push master, origin master. So if we hit, you see everything, all our code we pushed into the repository that we just created. So we just relax and sit back and watch all our files pushed to GitHub repository online. And when it is done, we'll be able to check all our code, have it online. Okay, so for better understanding of version control, kindly watch my video on version control and like the video, leave your comments in the comment section. Okay, so everything has been pushed. So you can see that if you git status, okay, nothing to commit, working tree clean. All right, so your branch master is up to date with origin master. So if you go back to our repository, GitHub, and refresh the page, you have all our codes. You see all our codes are here now. Okay, initial commits, whatsoever changes you make with your commit message, it will indicate the changes you made. So in case in the future you added a new page or you want to make a new change, all you need to do is to go to your terminal, you say git add, just like we did after making the changes, or you want to add a new file, you say git add. Then if you have the name of the file, you can just specify the name of the file. Or if you want to add everything, you say full stop, and the next thing you say git commits. Okay, and a flag a message, and just put a description to whatsoever you're adding, and after that you git push. So that's how you commit future changes. Okay, so now so far we've been able to configure our project, started our project, configured our project, we'll build our views, we'll be able to configure our version control and set up our version control. And right now we are ready to deploy our website to Heroku. So we are going to deploy the website to Heroku online, and so other people can see our work, but we're going to do that in the next video. So thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.